So now I'm going to turn to two young people who have really impressed me. I had the great opportunity of meeting Olivia and Carter Reese, they're founders of One More Generation, at an ocean summit in Mexico, where they talked very powerfully about the need to change behavior and starting with young people. They have an amazing program where they empower youth to take action on plastic pollution, but also to really understand the broader issue and the challenge we face, and how that we can all come together to tackle it. So with that, Olivia and Carter.
Can you guys hear me? All right, cool. So my name's Carter. I'm 17 years old, and this is my sister Olivia, who's just turned 16. So many people believe that the ocean is a place of beauty and tranquility, and for others it's a place to call home. But sadly, we realize that there's so many issues that are affecting it, and one is being plastic pollution. I believe that this is one of the biggest issues facing our planet to this date. Think about it. We're using over 500 million single-use plastic straws in the United States every single day, and over 1 million single-use plastic bags globally every single minute. I mean, no matter who you are, you can't look away from a problem this big. My sister and I have created a nonprofit organization called One More Generation, where we go around and teach people about the need to care for this planet because we realize this is our only planet. In 2010, during the BP Gulf oil spill, we saw pictures of seabirds and sea turtles being covered in oil, and we knew we had to do something. So for the next 4 months, we went around, collected supplies, and brought it to the Marine Mammal and Sea Turtle Rescue Center, where they had hundreds of seabirds and sea turtles that were all affected by the oil. And we decided we were going to go out on the water, and we were going to see, what kind of environment we were putting these creatures back in once they were healthy again. And we saw that there was just a bunch of plastic, and we knew we had to do something about that as well. So we realized that in order to take care of these species, we had to take care of the environment. So we created a plastic awareness curriculum that we teach the youth of any age and educate them about the need to protect the environment. We teach these students for a whole week about what can and can't be recycled, and a process we call pre-cycling, which is not buying a plastic that cannot be recycled. We have them collect all the plastic trash throughout the whole week that they collect at home, and at the end of the week they all bring it in, and we create an art sculpture, so all the people, the community, the school can see how much trash one single school uses in just 1 week, and it puts a giant perspective on it. So through this, we realize that education is the key. Through everything we've done from the beginning, by educating ourselves on endangered species and plastic, to now talking to you all here today, we realize that without education, there's no solution. You can't expect someone to fix a problem they don't know about. Knowing this, we went further and created different campaigns. Our newest campaign is our One Less Straw Pledge campaign, where we go around and tell people about the harms of plastic straws. It has 3 components. One being for individuals. We ask people to sign a pledge saying that they won't use a plastic straw for 30 days. This way it creates a habit where they're not using the straw, and hopefully they don't want to use the straw afterwards. Our second is for restaurants. We get the servers to wear a button that says, "We only serve straws upon request, ask me why." Now this starts up a conversation with the consumer and the server on why they won't mindlessly hand out straws because we're using so many. We've had these buttons translated into 12 different languages. I don't know them off the top of my head, but if any of you know any other language, please let me know. But this starts a conversation. We have over 700 different organizations around the world that have joined up with us, including Delta Airlines, who's now going straw-free, and Hilton Hotels, who is committed to us that they will take out straws from all 650 locations within the next few years, eventually reducing over 35 million single-use plastic straws from ending up in the environment annually. Now, the third component was created for schools. We asked teachers to share our infographic with the students. The students are given the opportunity to then sign the pledge and go home and get their parents or their siblings to sign it as well. This creates a learning opportunity in the household so that they can become the teachers. We now have schools all over the world sharing our campaign with the students, and we'd like to ask Minister McKenna if she'd be able to help us bring this into schools in Canada. Now, as you can see, education really is the most valuable thing you can give someone. Speaking of, we'd like to make it mandatory not only in the United States, not only in Canada, but around the world to incorporate environmental education starting as early as elementary, because these are the generations that will be inheriting the problems we have created. We believe that our award-winning plastic and recycling awareness curriculum is the perfect way to introduce global issues to students and gives them a chance to know how to make a difference and inspire them to as well. Lastly, we need to all stop arguing. We need to all just realize that it doesn't matter if there's global warming or if you believe that there should be a plastic bag ban or a plastic straw ban. It's all petty. We all need to just realize that we have an issue and we need to make a difference. Whether it be through funds, whether it be through implementing education into schools, we all need to just work together to finally make a difference. Everyone in this room, whether you like it or not, has contributed to the downfall of this planet, including myself, and I'm not proud of it. But I realize that through all this, we can all make a change. I ask you all here today to stand up, and whether you have already or haven't yet, make a change for the future generations, because we're the ones who have to deal with these problems. I want to tell you a quick story. While I was hiking the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu with my mother last November. And on one of the nights, I was sitting outside my tent, and I was talking to the guide. And he told me, he said, our relationship with the earth is like a fever with the body. He said, when our body detects a virus, it begins to fight it, and usually in ways like heating it up. It gets hotter and hotter, and once it's killed off the virus, it goes back to living peacefully. He said that we are Earth's virus. We harm it over and over, and eventually it's going to kill us off. I realized at that point that we need Earth, but she does not need us. So I ask you to please work with me and let my kids and grandkids see the oceans as they were meant to be. Let them see the environment in its former glory. I love this planet. I love the people in it. I want everyone to as well, but we can't if we don't all work together to finally make a change. So let me ask you, who will do the right thing and make a change with me so that we do not become an even bigger threat to this planet and eventually ourselves? Thank you.
Like my brother said, if we don't take care of this earth, there will be no earth left. Plastic pollution is not the only problems our oceans are facing. Climate change is another major threat that affects us all. You know what frustrates me? The fact that there are always big arguments whether climate change is real. Sadly, I see so many adults reluctant to even bring up the subject because they're afraid that the person they are talking to might disagree with them. The way I see it, we should not be having a conversation about whether or not climate change or global warming is real, or if it's a man-made or natural occurrence of the planet. We need to discuss what we can do to fix it. One problem that people don't really think twice about is why our carbon levels are so high. We should be focusing on what we are doing to get our carbon levels well below the over 400 parts per million that we are at now. We need to get carbon levels back down to the 350 parts per million target that experts around the world say we should be at. Isn't that what we should all be talking about? If we all focused in reducing carbon levels, we wouldn't argue whether climate change is real and allow us to focus on doing everything we can to reduce carbon levels back to safer levels. Looking at ways we can reduce our excessive burning of fossil fuels and how we can reduce the continued deforestation of our planet are two ways we can all affect change immediately. We need to ask ourselves, what can I do to help people to focus on this issue so we can all work towards reducing the collective carbon footprint? There are many organizations as well as people who are trying to help. My brother and I are always happy when we see countries like Canada who are tirelessly working with their neighbors from around the world to find ways to engage communities about such issues without concern about policies or what other administrations are doing, or in some cases not doing. We always love working with Minister McKenna and her team because they're always willing to see past governmental differences in an effort to affect change. Together with this amazing team we have here in Canada at our U.S. Embassy, they are allowing forums such as this event to happen. We commend Minister McKenna and our U.S. Embassy for their sincere efforts and thank them for caring enough to see past differences and allow us to work together as people of the planet and not competing nations. The impact of climate change does not merely affect a single person, city, state, or even country, but the entire world. The youth of the world make up nearly 25% of the world population. To solve this problem, we need to bring billions of young individuals to the cause of addressing the threat of climate change, so that in the future they can become sustainable thinkers in whatever profession they choose to pursue. We need to provide today's youth with a platform and resources that will allow them to share their ideas and make a difference. We need to get today's government to help us out, and together we can save our planet. I know that you may have heard that in my country some people think it should be Americans first, but let me assure you that that's not the majority, and most certainly not a message coming from our youth. I know Carter and I do not think like that at all, and in our opinion, it should be people first. And in order to take care of people first, we need to take care of our environment first. And to do that, we need your help. Each one of you here today needs to make a commitment to help the youth of the world by providing an education and resources needed to allow us to be a part of the solution and not just view us as kids. Our specific request today goes to Minister McKenna and our U.S. Embassy team and all their partners. We ask that you help us set up a meeting with the Ministry of Education so we can discuss the possibility of getting our award-winning plastic and recycling awareness curriculum implemented as a mandatory program in all schools, while also looking at ways we can do the same with programs that will teach the next generation of leaders about some of the many environmental threats that we are all going to have to deal with when we grow up. With your help, we can start making a difference. Thank you, and remember, anybody can make a difference. If we can, you can too.
Well said.
See, that's why you need kids. Thank you, Carter and Olivia. You're always very frank, and I really appreciate that. And I also appreciate how you're showing how kids are leading the way. When you listen to children, they know what the problem is. They know what the solution is. And so now it's up to us to make sure that we live up to their expectations and empower them to do what they need to do. I'm happy to have more conversations with you, and I really appreciate your leadership.